Hi everyone, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. So today I am here with my March reading wrap up. I read 5 books in March and DNF'd 1, so it would have been 6, but yeah, the one I DNF'd I couldn't go on with. It just wasn't for me. So yeah. Without much further ado, let's get into the books. So the books aren't in reading order, they're just in the order that I had them in for taking the thumbnail picture for the video. So yeah, that's just how we're going to roll with it. So the first one I've got to hand here is 5 Little Pigs by Agatha Christie. I read this for Christie Fest, which is hosted by the lovely Lil over at Lil's Vintage World and Julie the Hungry Bookworm. I will link their channels down below. This is a Hercule Poirot story, and it tells of a crime that happened 16 years previous to Poirot finding out that he is going to investigate it. A young woman who was the child of the murdered man, and the woman, his wife, who was convicted of the crime of murdering him. The young daughter comes to Poirot and asks him to investigate because she received a letter from her mother saying that she did not kill her father, and yeah, Poirot steps in and solves the crime. This is so twisty. It's a typical Agatha Christie. With the slight twist of the fact that it's a cold case that Poirot is pursuing a conclusion to, and I would thoroughly recommend that you read this book if you haven't already, because it's just brilliant. So the second one, I was sent this for review by Fitzcarraldo Editions, and it is Simple Passion by Annie Ernaux. This is a very short novella. Annie Ernaux is a French memoirist, and this is part of her memoirs. Although it's kind of written in story form, the woman in the story is unnamed, but it's kind of autobiographical, I feel, anyway. It tells the story of a woman who is having an affair with a married man. The affair is all-consuming. She is just obsessed with this man to the point that she goes shopping for clothes so that she has a new outfit every time she sees him, so that he never sees her in the same clothes twice. She constantly waits by the phone, and it's just, her life is just consumed by her feelings for this man. The relationship breaks down, it comes to an end. I think he moves to another city for work, and she gradually, bit by bit, gets over the obsession of her relationship with this man. It's a tiny little book, but it packs such a punch. And yeah, thank you to Fitzcarraldo Editions for sending me this, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was brilliant. I'm not usually into the sort of storyline that this entails, because I find that a bit sort of, yeah, it's just not really me. It's not my cup of tea. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was brilliant. And if you ever get a chance to read this, or indeed anything by Annie Ernaux, because I've heard that the rest of her writing is just brilliant. And if this is anything to go by, I would agree. So yeah. The next book was March's pick from the TBR jar that my husband Duncan created for me, and it was Casino Royale by Fleming. This is my second time reading this book. So one of the rules for the TBR jar was that the books couldn't be too big, because obviously I have other things to read in the month. And if he chooses a book that I have read before, I still need to read it again, because it's part of the TBR jar. And I also need to read it if I've read it before and not liked it, which I didn't like this book the first time round. But the second time round I did enjoy it, although my feelings from the first time that I read it do remain. I feel that it's very misogynistic in its characterization of women. But at the same time, I appreciate that it was written in an era where attitudes were very different to the ones that we have in society today. So for that reason, you know, it should be appreciated for what it is. It's a classic in spy crime literature, and it's brilliant, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it second time round, even though my feelings didn't change towards the misogyny. So yeah. The fourth rather, the next one of these days I'll get through a video and not make a mistake. But yeah, that's just how we roll. So the next one was a book that was sent to me by the author herself. She signed it for me, and it's The Story Forest by Claire Savage. This tells the story of Freddie, who is a young boy. His mother is the librarian, the head librarian of the local town library where he lives, and there is a threat of closure. Freddie then meets a young girl who is a bookkeeper called Meg, and she takes him into the Story Forest, which is a world behind bookcases. And she's a story keeper. She keeps stories alive and nurtures that love of books in children and the population in general. This is just brilliant. There's a nasty man from the council who's trying to close the library down, and he gets his comeuppance, although in a really good way. And yeah, this was just brilliant. You meet fairies, you meet weird creepy crawlies who eat books, and yeah, it was just fabulous. And thank you so much to Claire Savage for sending me this book, because it just was such a slice of amazing. It was like a love letter to the written word and to libraries in general, and they are disappearing at a rate of knots, unfortunately. It's so sad, but yeah, I love this. If you get a chance to read it, I absolutely recommend that you do. So the next one is the book that I DNF'd. I got about, how much into this book did I get? Let me just see. It actually pains me to to open this book again. I got about 100 pages in, or thereabouts. Let me just see. Yes, I got 100 pages in, and it is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This was, it was either February or March. I think it was February's pick. I can't remember. It was one of the picks. It was a February or March pick. If I remember, I'll pop it down on the screen below or in the description. And it was for Sykes and Savage Book Club, hosted by the lovely Simon Savage and Melanie Sykes. This book, I thought it was going to be quite uncomfortable in places. I didn't realise how uncomfortable. I stopped at page 100 or thereabouts, because there was rather an uncomfortable instance of child rape, is all I can say. And it just switched me off completely from it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And I didn't enjoy it. Up until that point, I kind of felt that something was coming, and I hoped it wouldn't be quite so graphic, and it was. So yeah, I stopped. I read out the portion of the book that stopped me reading it to my husband, and he was horrified as well. I kind of felt a bit shell-shocked for a couple of days, just how graphic it was, and it just wasn't for me. So I will be getting rid of this book. Yeah. And the dogs are barking downstairs. There must be a postie delivering stuff. Yes. Anyway, the last book in this wrap-up was a book that I absolutely adored. It was just beautiful, and I just loved it. It was 100 Steps by Captain Sir Tom Moore, and the illustrations were by Adam Larkham. And this is basically just the story of Captain Sir Tom, the amazing human being who raised nearly £40 million for the NHS during the original coronavirus lockdown in the UK. And yeah, this is just fab. I just loved it. The artwork and the story. Let me get a really... So this is a picture, or a couple of pictures, of Sir Tom in the army, and I think it was Africa that he was in. It was just amazing. A message of positivity, and just how he grew up, and that he's always had dogs in his life, and that his family meant everything to him. And yeah, just pictures like that. And there was one near the end that I really, really enjoyed as well. Yeah, so this is when he discovers that coronavirus is a thing, and before that he got to see Mount Everest, because the time that he was there before, it was misty and foggy and he couldn't see it for that. So he returned in his late, I think it was his late 80s, or he was 90 years old, that's what it said. And yeah, I just thought it was just fab. So there's also this as well, which is like a timeline from from the time where he was walking his garden, doing his 100 laps, and then he was knighted by the Queen. It was just beautiful, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection. It's just such a lovely book, and I kind of shed a little bit of a tear reading it, but yeah. So that is the end of my reading wrap up for March. If you have read any of these books and enjoyed them, please let me know. If you haven't, give them a go. Yeah, so if anybody would like my copy of My Dark Vanessa, I will put it on my Instagram stories. My Instagram is linked down below. I will put it on my Instagram stories, and I will sell it on. It won't be very expensive, so if you want it, dive over to Instagram, it'll be there. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye bye.